I am Nick Shell, the living legend of hair loss, and most likely your personal hairline hero. Let's get to work. Comments are falling like precipitation. So I made a batch of videos last week, and it's inspired this newest batch of hair loss videos. One of the videos I made was called Newest Haircut, Shorter Pompadour Undercut with Receding Hairline, No Pomade. Now, as you can see, I currently have pomade in my hair. I did comb it and I put pomade in there. I didn't blow dry it. But so I just want to point out that this is in reference to a video in which I'm talking about not having pomade in my hair. So I do recognize that it looks a little bit different in that video compared to this one. So Malcolm X, that's his screen name, said, quote, "Is this the midlife crisis cut?" End quote. My answer, yes. There you go, all within the first minute of the video. I am proclaiming and admitting, and I feel like I've already made this video. I've made multiple versions of most of my videos. But yes, this absolutely is my midlife crisis cut. And it's really funny too, because with this video in particular that I'm referencing, again, called Newest Haircut, Shorter Pompadour, because it's now 2.5 inches on top instead of like 3.5. Shorter Pompadour Undercut with Receding Hairline, 2.5 inches on top, number one guard on the sides. And it was about a week ago, so it's closer, probably more to, maybe closer to a number 2 on the sides and the back. But it's funny because the video itself, it hasn't been up quite a week yet. I think it's been up like 6 days as the filming of this video. But 811 views, 36 comments, 22 thumbs up and 4 thumbs down. So the overwhelming majority of people who saw that liked it. Less people didn't like it. So I think that's interesting. And personally, I think my hair looks better like this, as I am Slick Nick, where I have it combed back, as compared to how I had in the video. But I think it's interesting too, when you have a hairstyle and you're experimenting with different hairstyles with a receding hairline. It's almost like, well, what's the worst version of this compared to the best version? Well, I feel this is better than not having pomade in it at all. But it's a matter of, well, even if it's, I think the bad version, there's still, most people think it still looks good. I think that's interesting. But going back to the actual comment, is this the midlife crisis cut? So I want to say not only yes, but also I want to illustrate how and why it is the midlife crisis cut. So if you've been watching my channels for a couple of years now, you know that I've been very open about my existential crisis. So there's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid. So basically, if you're in a third world country, you're just looking around thinking, how can I get food, water? How can I not be blown up by a bomb or whatever it is? And then the next step, you're not necessarily fearing for your life as far as war or starvation, but it's more about security and finding friends and that sort of thing. And then next it's about, okay, well, now I've got a decent living, but how can I improve what I got? How can I basically compete with the Joneses, kind of thing? How can I have a better version of everything? When you get to the very top, and it becomes more about self-actualization, as far as, okay, so really what is my purpose here? And what do I perceive as the meaning of life? And you start dealing with those things, self-actualization. So a couple years ago, I got to the top of the pyramid. I want you to look it up. I want you to research it. Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid. It's like M-A-S-L-O-W. I think it's like Maslow, but it's pronounced Maslov's because it's Russian or something, a Russian Jewish guy. So you can look it up and you can see this. I've made multiple videos about it. So just so you understand the concept, it's not that once you make enough money, then you get to the top. It's not really about that. You can be a millionaire and only be halfway up the ladder in theory, if you're still craving approval of society and you want people to love you. If you don't have love and you don't feel love, you can't be at the top. You have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to be loved by people and be able to feel that before you can get there. So that's why there's so many millionaires. That's what so many famous people who are not happy. So it's interesting. It's not necessarily about how much money you're worth or how much money you have, but ultimately there's a certain point where you can make a certain amount of money and then you realize, okay, My needs are being met and I'm happy. But what else? Am I loved? Yes. Do I feel loved? Yes. Do I understand that the world doesn't revolve around me? The world is based on me helping other people with their journey in life? Yes. Once you realize it's not about you, which is why I keep saying it's ridiculous that I have these videos about hair loss, because I don't personally care about it. I'm here to help people get over themselves, because it's a very selfish thing to assume that people like you or don't like you based on your hair. That is very juvenile, very self-centered, and which is why I always remind everybody, watch the video in the description. It tells you how to accurately predict if you're going to go bald, and more importantly, there's 10 things you're being judged on by society. And even best case scenario, let's assume they're judging you on hair number 11th. Well, then there's still 10 other things you're being judged on. So where I'm at the top of the pyramid. All my needs are being met. Everything I want, I have. And so for me, life is more about, I'm writing a song right now that I'll release on my channel in the near future called Nostalgic for the Present, where I'm talking about I'm living my life in an ability now where it's as if I've already lived my whole life and I'm going back in time and I'm reliving it, having a better perspective of knowing how to live better in the moment. There's many movies made about this, about time. It's on Netflix. It's a great movie. My wife and I have seen it many times. There's Family Man. That's another one. Even arguably, you could say Captain America has that situation in the Avengers Endgame movie. Even he is in that situation. So there's several movies that have that Scrooged, that movie, the Christmas Carol. So once you get to where you're at, where I'm at in life, and you realize I have everything I could ever want or need, I feel loved, I am loved, and I'm not craving those things. Those are not the things that motivate me. Instead, I want to understand existence better. I want to understand life better, my own purpose in life. I want to understand better. I want to better understand how I perceive God, how I perceive what happens when we die. You have space in your head to think about those things when you're not tripping over silly, juvenile, self-centered things like, am I going to go bald? So that's where I'm at. So that existential crisis is me realizing, wow, okay, I don't have to worry about, am I making enough money? No, financially, I'm at a good situation now. I live in a good neighborhood. I know who I am and I'm confident. I know what I'm good and I'm bad at. I know so much about myself that now it's almost the curse is that you're at the top and you're realizing, wow, it's like you're in outer space a little bit, like, wow, so all these people are still worrying about this stuff that I don't even have to worry about it anymore. So now what do I focus on? So yeah, that's existential crisis. So midlife crisis, ultimately we could say the same. 39 and a half, 6 months from now I turn 40. I'm in that existential crisis. A year and a half ago, I finally traded in my Honda Element that I had for 13 years, and I got a Jeep Wrangler, and that was part of my existential crisis. Being able to go off-roading and shifting gears. It's a manual transmission. Having those off-road tires, that was a big part of it for me, and it still is. It's a matter of, and even now, and I'll admit it, going to the gym 6 days a week for an hour a day every morning, wake up at 5:30, go do that, then walk 2 miles after that, and counting all my calories and getting enough protein, losing the dad bod by the time I reach 40, my goal, all of that, yeah, that's midlife crisis related, because what happens is once you get to a certain point in life, if everything kind of adds up kind of the way it should, then that's what happens. You have to reevaluate how you see the world, how you see others, how you see yourself. So how is this my midlife crisis? Well, that's who I am. I'm in theory going through that midlife crisis of sorts. It's the crisis, why exactly am I here now? I did all the things, I achieved all the things I really wanted to achieve in life, and I'm not even 40 yet. Now what? So that's where I'm at, and I've been talking about this many videos. I did whole series on this channel in the last year and a half. But yeah, ultimately, what I don't have time for is caring about my hair. So, okay, I still have hair. Okay, let me just shave off the sides and have just enough to kind of have some kind of style. And then I can fix my hair in less than a minute. I've done multiple videos about that, how it takes me less than a minute to fix my hair. And then once a month I go back, shave off the sides, keep the top 2.5 inches. Okay, I'm good. So yeah, absolutely, this is my midlife crisis haircut. Undeniably, I've been saying that. Absolutely yes. Comments right here.